Okay, welcome back. This is the second module into the outdoor soccer officials training. We'll be looking at direct kicks and indirect kicks. We'll look at some case plays as well as define what sort of fouls, violations, etc. result in a direct kick versus an indirect kick. Should be a quick module, but let's jump into it. Okay, so and when it comes to direct kicks versus indirect kicks, there's two philosophies to kind of keep in mind when deciding which to go with. So it's the ing versus the ion. So ing typically results in a direct kick. So kicking, spinning, tripping, all of these below here that end with an ing will result in a direct kick. And just to recap from the last module, a direct kick, somebody may kick the ball and it can go directly into the net and score a goal. It does not need to touch another player. And another reminder that the defense or the opposing team needs to be at least 10 yards away from the attacking team before they take a direct kick. Another good reminder, I think it was on the quiz for the last module, is that direct kicks, the player may take the direct kick without a start whistle if they choose to. However, if the direct kick is a result of either a card or an injury or something of the sort, then there needs to be a start to play whistle. Or if the offensive player who's taking the direct kick asks you to move the defenders back, then you will move the defenders back, and then it must start on a ready to play whistle at that point. So these are the INGs that result in a direct kick, and let's look at some common fouls plays. So you will see here, player comes in, knocks him to the ground. The official had a whistle on this play, so that was good. So this could be pushing, shoving, either the sort. The yellow player was playing the ball, and that ball was playable at his feet. So this would result in a direct kick. This next one, see a little bit of tripping going on, and then you will see 41 in blue come and body check, pushing, shoving, another one like that, and our official has a whistle on this as well. Since the ball was playable at the feet of the yellow player, this would be a direct kick as well. Okay, here we go into the next one. Good throw in, legal throw in there. And this was a result of a handball, as you can see. So we'll watch this again. You'll see the ball bounce up and hit the arm of the player in gray there from ATO. So even though it was unintentional, it did affect the ball and hit the ball and hit him on his hand down from his shoulder. So that was a good call there and a good stoppage. And this will result in a direct kick for the green team in this scenario. And this one, we'll see it jump up and hit the hand of the player in red. It doesn't look like there was a whistle on this, but there should have been. Her hand was outside the frame of her body, touches the ball, affects the play. It comes down to her feet. Again, it looks like it was unintentional, but since it was outside the frame of her body, hits her hand, we need to put a whistle on that and result in a direct kick from the blue team there. And this one, you can see the green player. She looks like she feels really bad about it, but we do have a whistle on this. So this is tripping. Probably not a card in this scenario. It was unintentional. The player was not injured, and she was trying to play the ball, so it wasn't harmful, but definitely a tripping call, and that would be a direct kick resulting from a foul, tripping. All right, here's another one. So tripping as well. That one was a little bit more egregious and looked a little bit more intentional. He's trying to play the ball, but it's going to be up to your discretion. So you may or may not have a card on this one. It was a dangerous play, I would say, so I would personally want to put a card on that. But again, that is up to your discretion on whether you thought that was dangerous or not. All right, one last one for direct kicks. Looks like we do have a whistle on that one as well. This one's a little bit harder to see, but the player from ATO in the gray, their hand comes up and hits the face of the green player, and that will result in a direct kick as well. Watch it one more time. Watch the ATO player. He'll be his right hand. comes up and hits the face of the green player there. Hard to see, but that would result in a direct kick as well. Okay, so on the flip side, an ION play. So not all of these work directly. I think it's for obstruction and caution, so that ION part of that. So these result in indirect kicks. And a reminder, an indirect kick is a player may not take the shot directly on goal. It would need to touch at least one other player before the ball is allowed to be scored. So dangerous plays such as a high foot challenge. So even if there's no contact, but somebody is kicking up near the head or neck area with their foot, that would be a dangerous play, and that would result in an indirect kick. Obstruction, this one's a little bit harder to tell. The video that we have for you next, I don't think is obstruction. So the difference is if a player is playing the ball and it's at their feet, so it's within a step or two, and somebody comes in and impedes their progress, then it would result in a direct kick. However, if the ball is not nearby, say it's 5-6 steps ahead or completely away from the play, and somebody impedes the progress of an opponent, you put a whistle on that, and that will result in an indirect kick because the ball is not immediately playable, as you see the language there. So a cautioned player that does not result from a foul stoppage. So if somebody goes and attempts a slide tackle and you put a whistle on that, that will result in a direct kick. But a cautioned player from a non-foul stoppage, such as somebody cussing or swearing or some other reason that they'll be cautioned for, and they'll get a yellow card, that would be an indirect kick. A couple more examples of indirect kick: players touching a ball a second time before the ball has been played by another player. So for example, on a direct kick or a kickoff, a player is not allowed to touch it twice in a row. So another good example is a corner kick. So a player can't just kick the ball in and then go and play it with their feet. It must touch at least one other player. Another note that I want to make here is on a penalty kick. So on a penalty kick, the player who takes a penalty cannot be the first person to touch the ball after they take the penalty. So if they shoot it and it hits the goalie and rebounds off of them, then they're good to go. They can play it. But if they shoot it and it hits off the crossbar or one of the posts without touching another player, the player who takes the penalty kick cannot be the first to play it. And then the last one, a ball played back to the goalie from his or her own teammate will result in an indirect kick from the spot of where the goalie picks it up. So if a defender passes the ball with their feet back to their goalkeeper and they pick the ball up, that will result in an indirect kick at the spot where the goalie picks it up. So this is one of the only cases where an attacking team, an offensive team, will be taking a kick inside of the penalty area of their opposing team. It's not something that happens super often, but it would result in an indirect kick, and this is very often where you will see two players from the offensive team play the ball. So one person will just barely tap it, so it puts the ball in play, and then the other player will try and take a shot on net, most likely. Another good note here is that we have that 10-yard rule still, with an exception being players are allowed to stand on their own goal line if that's within 10 yards of the play, and that is the only time they'll be allowed to stand within that. Okay, and we'll look at one play. Again, I don't think this is obstruction because I think the ball is immediately playable, but this is a sort of impeding of the progress that we're trying to talk about. Oh, well, this looks like more of a tripping one. But you can see she goes to the ground. And again, that's up to your discretion on whether you think that's a slide tackle or not. We'll get into in some of the next modules if what a slide tackle is and if this is just tripping. To me, she intentionally goes to the ground and makes contact. So we'll get into that, but that is most likely going to be a caution player in a card. So go ahead and take the quiz for this module. This was a short one, but take the quiz and come back and we'll go over some more stuff in the next one. Thank you.